series, we're going to be talking about books that are releasing brand new, spankin' new this month. So right now we're talking about September. Next month we'll talk about, you guessed it, October. The book that I read is City of Beasts by Corrie Wang. This is her second novel. Her first was called The Takedown. This is not a follow-up to The Takedown. This is totally different and really good. I do know Corrie personally. She lives here in the area in Park Circle. She and her husband, Shui, are opening up a restaurant just down the street from us called Jackrabbit Philly. Super excited. But I really don't like reading books by people I know, typically.
It's a dangerous game.
It's really nerve-wracking. It's so nerve-wracking because, okay, so Julie and I both work in publishing currently. We met Danielle while also working at a publishing company. You get a lot of requests to read your stuff, read people's stuff, especially people you know.
Yes.
And I, early
They'll
on,
come out of the woodworks.
made a rule.
Second cousins.
Yeah.
Will you read my novel?
Yeah. And it just... Early on, I made a rule, like, no, I don't read things by people I know, because then you just never have to have the conversation about, I didn't like your finished book, sorry, bye. So, I did read Corrie's book, and I really liked it, and I'm telling the world about it. I can't wait to talk to her about it, and how she came to want to inject this dystopian trope with this really heavy and weighty discussion of how we construct gender and how it defines ourself and our relationship to other people, all in like a really neat, fun package that I could see being turned into a movie very easily. My hat's off to Corrie for doing that very well.
It sounds so good.
It's really good. It's really funny too.
I'm excited to
It's
read it.
really, really funny. It's got this amazing cast of characters, and like, so you meet all these boys in Buffalo as well. So that's the City of Beasts. So the beasts are the boys.
Boys are beasts.
Yeah, boys are beasts and girls are fees, or nags to the male population. Yeah, they call them nags. So they're true stereotypes. They're truly are like archetypal tropes that these people, like the boys, had never seen any woman except Marilyn Monroe, and then all of the vestiges of pop culture women that are left in Buffalo. So yeah, it's all very weird.
Not meant to be subtle at all.
No.
Yeah.
And they're all overblown. It's like then the men all have their own relationships to gender as well, and their own construction of what, of like the different shades of masculinity are in a way that we're not as open about, and on the same side with the fees. So there's much more of a gradient and much more of really a true expression, I think, of what some people find their interior to be. So yeah, as a women's college graduate, I really enjoyed it.
Excellent. Okay, so very similar worlds. I'm excited to read that one since I've enjoyed reading this series so much. Seafire. It came out last year. And so I read and got really excited about, for September, the sequel, the follow-up. It's a trilogy, I believe. It's the Seafire trilogy. You know, with like the second book in a trilogy, you're always like, yeah, is it gonna, live up to it? Everyone's like, Chamber of Secrets is my least favorite. Anyway, so the second book doesn't always have to be a flop. And I would say this one is not. Everyone who has read Seafire should be really excited about Steel Tide. But what I like about these, so you talked about like in City of Beasts, the gender is like a huge part of it, and it's done really well and nuanced. What I like about this, it's like the same but reversed, where there seems to have somehow along the way been dispensed with the like fact that there are gender roles per se, because it's never exactly like, Caledonia is this girl who's beating this evil man. It's just she is a character, happens to be a woman. And everyone is like very diverse, but not in like an over the top way. So like there are definitely different people dating in her crew. And she talks about having feelings for men and women, but none of it's like the main point. It's just like this is like a thing. This so I kind of like that part because sometimes in fantasy worlds or dystopian, people are trying to dispense with like the gender norms that we have currently, and I think that Natalie Parker did it pretty well, as well as can be expected when we still do actually have genders, you know. So yeah. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to say about this was it has really good catchphrases, just like all the favorite fandoms do. But I want to use it all the time. Where Caledonia always tells them in like tight situations, she's like, "Stay steely, girls," and I'm always like, "Stay steely." I'm gonna start saying that to myself and to everyone. They also have this chant that they do, which is something like, "On the sea, who can you trust?" And they're like, "Your sisters." And it's super cute. I love it.
I read The Nobody People by Bob Proehl, and I really, really liked it. I think that sci-fi is a really good vehicle for communicating what is going on in the world. Sci-fi and horror, I really think, are both very good for those things.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys would agree with that.
Yeah, because you can like play them up in
without making it cheesy.
Yeah.
Necessarily. Like I've read plenty of a lovely literary fiction that's trying to make some grand statement, and it's just it's exhausting.
It's too real. Yeah.
It's too real. It's too real. You need
Dense.
some kind of buffer.
Yeah.
You need something to be able to help you process it.
Yes.
So that you can actually connect to the people who are in the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this does a really good job of that. And I would definitely call this, I would call it literary sci-fi. Starts off with these people trapped in a mine workers, and this 17-year-old boy breaks them out of the mine by using his like lasers that shoot out of his eyes, kind of like Cyclops, X-Men kind of thing. And he saves all of the mine workers, and basically the next scene is the mine workers, besides him, he's at home with his family. Mine workers are sitting at the bar, and they're talking about it, and they're getting all worked up about how he's like a freak, and just totally forgetting the fact that he saved them.
As you can see people doing.
Yeah, and like basically a lynch mob.
Yeah.
So they go to his house, they kill him and his entire family. So yeah, and that's
like the first chapter.
Yes, that's like the first like 7 pages or something.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's fast and it happens hard.
Oh no.
And so I, of course, read this and I was like, oh my god, I love it! Because it was just so effed up.
Yeah. Naturally. This is all good. Right. Everything's happening here is good.
It's really good in the way that it uses science fiction, this X-Men kind of take to demonstrate racial inequality that we have going on in our country right now, and just the how humans are just unfortunately capable of very real evil, and how that can be very contagious.
Seems to be a theme throughout our book.
Yes,
we were all in some kind of mood when we read these.
We were.
Cool. Okay. Well,
so we're really excited about these upcoming picks, and we hope that you're excited too. So stay tuned for next month's.